back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, did you order a box copy of Carmageddon Reincarnation? Yeah, man, just let it go. Road Redemption might release on time. Without controller support, and Dying Light gets a demo. Now you too can witness its horrid performance.
Unity releases a beta Linux editor. Grab it while it still works. GabeN wants to put a rocket in your pocket and an Areola controller in your hand, and Feral goes AMD. There were no survivors.
Sama's star page goes up on Steam, and I can already feel the piss running down my legs. Haemimont released a quote-unquote balance patch for Victor Vran, which made the game unplayable for about 24 hours on my end. NVIDIA gives us another driver. Now you can use that GTX 950 that you bought against our judgment under Linux.
Clowns. No, I don't have colorophobia, damn it. Star Citizen might be the subject of a class action lawsuit, and I'm becoming more and more glad I didn't back it. YouTube gaming makes its debut, and it sucks. Go figure.
I'm Vince Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing all this nightmare fuel with my friend, the tame Canadian podcaster.
I take offense to that. I'm not your friend, buddy.
Dynafire. And all the way from Space, Portugal,
Game is a bit of a stretch.
Mateus. He's here, plays Marizzo. And from Wisconsin, Ohio. That's
Hearts Unknown.
Yeah.
Yes.
And together with Shadowrealm Dynamic Live, we form a bit of a cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we'd like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. I'll go first because after 3 years, and I shit you not, after 2 rewatches of DS9, 2 rewatches of Enterprise, and I can't go back and watch TNG, I got the rose-colored glasses on that, I tried that and it didn't work out well. I finally finished the first series of Voyager.
Yeah.
Really.
Speaking of which, did you check out that Star Trek Renegades movie that came out this week?
You know, I thought about looking into that. Is that pretty good?
It's pretty fucking bad, but it's like hilariously bad.
All right. What's up, Jay baby?
Yeah, no, aside from watching Star Trek Renegades and wondering, Tim Russ actually directed this? No, I've had the work week from hell, 4 12-hour days. It's been pretty brutal, but now I'm here and still alive inexplicably. So there's that.
There was a new Hearthstone expansion that came out over the past week, so that's basically all I've done.
I was diagnosed with terminal life organ failure. So, yeah.
Is that your liver?
That's all of them.
Well, one thing
that
that
sucks.
we always got to somber the mood. The one thing that never has.
Can I have your stereo?
What's a horse up to, man?
The horse wants to know if it can get your computer or maybe your Steam controller. It's our Steam update. Yeah, no, Rocket League is coming to Linux. We were talking last week about how the new TF2 mode is supposed to compete with games like Rocket League, which is now coming to SteamOS. And there's a fancy schmancy deal. You get it for free if you pre-order a Steam Link or a Steam controller, which is a pretty good deal. Like Ven pointed out in the notes, it's a pretty hefty discount off a controller.
That's basically all I was looking at it for. And I was like, Rocket League, I was going to buy it anyway. And I was like, 20 quid off the controller, the Areola controller. It kind of might, what's that put at about the 40 quid level? And like, I might buy it. I don't know, P-Man, what's up?
I like Rocket League from what I've seen. People play it on YouTube mostly, but I still don't know to this day how does it work with Valve shipping stuff over to Portugal. How much extra will I have to pay for shipping?
Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
Probably, yeah.
Just saving you that 3-week wait there. That's what you're gonna say.
They'll get my money when they have a SteamOS icon, not before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as tempting as it is, the whole promoting pre-order culture thing, I'm not okay with that.
Well, I mean, it's great that Linux is getting another game that is fairly popular.
Of course they have.
As time goes on, the most played games on Steam are increasingly getting more and more Linux ports. For all the fucking good it will do, all those dual booting heathens will say, "Oh, move to Linux when this game comes." That's not going to help. But I'm holding out for a hero then.
We do need a hero, and that's Company Heroes 2 from the fine folks at Feral Interactive. Experience ultimate World War II RTS platform where it goes, basically you run around, you shoot shit. I mean, you make squads, you go pews and all this. And apparently our good friends in Soviet Russia much hate game comrade. They downvote it very often for bad portrayal of glorious communist Russia.
So who ported this, then?
I just said from the fine folks at Feral, son.
Did you now? Okay, then. Yeah, but apparently cross-platform multiplayer isn't working. They got Mac versus Mac and Linux versus Linux working, but no Mac versus Windows, Windows versus Linux, and so on and so forth, which is really disappointing considering, again, gold standard of Linux ports. Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel had cross-platform multiplayer on day one. Come on, Farrell, you're dropping the ball here.
Actually, all of the Aspire ports that had multiplayer had it working on day one. The Civilizations, all that.
Oh,
but yeah, Feral
Yeah,
seems to have
true.
trouble wrapping their heads around that. They even have a Steam group for Linux and Mac players to get together and, get some games going.
Keep
I
them
don't
in their
know.
little
Maybe
ghetto.
they'll fix it. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if you go back and read, I mean, they have a very drawn-out explanation of, like, we put a lot of time and effort into trying to get this working. Basically, the reason it's not working is because maths, and they're not going to give up on it. Like, we just need to get this out of the door. And for once, I was like, oh, man, poor Mac users. There's actually, enough Linux users that are going to buy the game.
Well, I mean, they're Mac users. You just got to pity them for that.
Pity the fool.
I'm surprised that non-cross-platform multiplayer is even a thing. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, apparently it's an issue with like the time libraries for Windows and like OS 10 and Linux where they don't return necessarily the same values. That's a bit weird. I don't know. Summa affirmatum, Pedro.
Do you think that's frightening?
Yes, it's the lovely, lovely folks at Frictional, which I'm pretty sure some of them must have a couple of dead bodies hidden away in a closet somewhere. But this is their new game. It's not out yet. It will be out September 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Remains to be seen if the Linux version will come out day one as well. They hired the guy from the guy that did the port of Shadow Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they hired him. So hopefully we'll get.
I was going to say, how many times do you think this is going to nope your system?
Well, my system didn't get noped a single time with Shadow Warrior. The biggest issue I had with the game was the fact that it didn't recognize the whole buttons on the side of the mouse here. So
Outside of that, I don't think it's too bad. I mean, you got to remember, Frictional is a hella small studio, guys. And here's something I just want to throw out there. I mean, if they can have this, because we should have this ready for day one on Linux, because they hired somebody to port it, and we have these other, they're indie and all that, and other indie studios with a lot more cash and a lot more resources going, but it's expensive. We need volunteers. You know who I'm talking about. I'm just saying, man, that excuse no longer flies. You going to pick this up?
Oh, yeah.
It's not often that I'm tempted to pay full price for a game, but this is going to probably be one of the few exceptions.
Yeah, Frictional usually has a decent level of quality when it comes to their games and their Linux ports, and I mean they've had their entire back catalog ported thanks to the folks at
and there's this is the nitty gritty of the whole horror genre. Theirs is the best kind of horror. They tend to put your character in situations where you can't defend yourself. There's no way in hell you're going to kill whatever is chasing you. And all you have to do is run. And don't look back, because looking back costs you precious, precious time. So, I really
one thing, though, is they gave us early cracks at Machine for Pigs. Come on, Frictional. Give us a bit of summer.
Yes.
You know you want it.
They
love
haven't
us. We
even
love
answered
you.
my emails.
Well, now we can all complain, right?
Oh yes, no. Do you feel like paying $60 to download a busted piece of ass?
Mhm.
Didn't think so. Now you can spend 11 gigabytes of your monthly bandwidth allotment and download the demo, and you can experience this yourself. I didn't because it's not worth the 11 gigabytes.
Um, yeah, and one thing, JFS and XFS file systems are not supported.
Oh my! Well, why?
We're getting into the mentality of these people. It's like, how did you even pull that off?
You have to try.
No,
we only support Riser 4.
I mean, it is a killer file system. This game is definitely one of the games that I picked this thing up on day one. I think I paid like 60 quid for it. Didn't work. Waited 2 months. Still didn't work. Horrible fucking performance. And then the Steam refunds, and I was like, I might as well try, because in that 2 months, I'd still put less than 2 hours in it. Got my money back. Considered a win on that. But P-Man, it didn't even launch on your box, did it?
Oh no, I waited for the download to be done. Started it up. I got the little launcher in the middle of the screen. It went away. Okay, are you loading? No. H-top? No. Alright, let's kill Steam. Start it from terminal, run it again. Oh, it's actually crashing. And it's giving me a backtrace from libc6.
Are you sure you didn't
No.
accidentally download the first release of The Witcher 2 for Linux?
Probably.
Have you given it a try?
Yeah. 11 gigabytes and 13 minutes later, I'm comfortable not paying $60 for that ever.
Yeah. Hashtag popcorn.
Yeah.
They're just looking for ways to scare their customers off.
Hashtag Steam welcome message, no friends.
I can only imagine what happened in TechLens Linux side of things. They're like, yeah, we got/are getting a whole shit ton of refunds. We should do something about that.
It's misapplication of the Balmer peak. You can't just give programmers a crate of whiskey and expect them to go at it. You have to measure their alcohol consumption so that they hit the Balmer peak and can program superhumanly. But up next, we got Victor Vran.
Yes, we do. And it's a big ass patch. They balanced the whole bunch of different things with the lightning gun, the scythe, some legendary weapons, the destiny cards, weapon properties, demon powers. They've actually introduced some user requests. So if you're one of those people that were hanging around their Steam forums suggesting stuff, your thing might be in the game now. They fixed a couple of bugs and did some multiplayer chat changes. That's all well and good. And the moment I got this patch, I'm like, okay, this is a pretty big list. Let's start the game up. It's loading. Still loading. Still loading. Okay, what the hell happened? Started again from the terminal. Okay, so you're failing to set the resolution. The Lua script's just crashing. Okay. Go to the Steam forums. Oh, they have already reported that. About 24 hours later, they released a teeny tiny hotfix because it was happening on both Linux and Mac. So, yeah. But they sorted it out. Good on them.
Yeah, definitely good on them. I mean, it's a fun game. We liked it. It's genuinely...
Yeah, definitely worth the 3 chairs. Go pick that up. Just like, if you don't own it, go buy it now. Seriously.
Yeah.
The fact that they're even listening to their fans and including fan suggestions in the game shows that they actually give a shit about what we think about it. So, good on them. But speaking of giving a shit, how about something I give no shits about? LedWorks Game Launcher. It is still only available on Windows, if you don't know what this is. If you made a game on LedWorks and it was too shitty to actually get on Greenlight or the Steam store, you can distribute it via the LedWorks Game Launcher so that other people can play your game and say, well, it's a good effort considering this person is maybe 12 years old.
Cougar.
And then they find out you're actually a 35-year-old man and they go,
The only reason I really wanted to put this in here is you know it's coming from Linux. And yeah, it's exactly what you just said. This is your shit so busted you couldn't get it on Greenlight. And this will let you play like really horrible games that are currently coming out for LedBooks. I mean, just
minus Pump Asset Captain, though.
I know, but we have a Portal clone, We have
Yes.
something very...
Something.
Yeah,
We
another
got,
something.
we got shit in space, potato space, space potatoes.
Assets, stock asset game, a ball.
There's a whole lot of stock asset flipping.
Mini golf, and we were too poor to actually make Action Hank, so we did a ball game.
I don't know. You looking forward to this, Atomic?
So what you're telling me is we have a Ledberg schedule now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Pump asset captain. Dude, come on.
So now we have my first video game in Ledverks or Unity.
Coming soon, my first CryEngine game. It just puts your
Yes.
system and lights your processor on fire.
All right. A Gomi Megasphere.
Yeah. So this is a hipster pixel 2D platform shooter with an 80s soundtrack that I do want. Randomized levels, permadeath with checkpoints.
It was a...
What?
Okay, just looking at this right now, I'm looking at the price on Brad, 14.99 wet stinkies. That's kind of ballsy for early access hipster pixel 2D. Has already been done before and better.
Yeah. What was that game you really liked? That was kind of the
Soul
same thing?
Axiom. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of the weapons in the trailer look a bit interesting, but I bet you five wet stinky that if this thing ever leaves early access, it's going to be in a humble bundle within 6 months.
It was not Soul Axiom then. It was Verge Axiom.
Same difference.
Same shit, but I'm pretty sure this is humble indie bundle bait. So we'll probably, if it ever leaves early access, we're probably going to get it for pay what you want in the coming months. At least that's my theory, anyways. Atomic, you have any thoughts on the matter?
I don't know. I might pay $15 for it, but we'll have to see.
All right, well, let's
you
talk
should buy
about
'em,
something
so.
everybody loves.
Fucking magnets, man.
How do they work?
Sky, earth, water, dirt, fucking magnets. How do they work? No, this is the Clown House or Palekyo Eva. I don't know. I don't speak Czech. Yeah, let's go with what
Whatever
Pedro
that
said.
Moonspeak was.
Yes, goddamn Moonspeak. No, this is it is a game where you play as a creepy clown. I don't know. Someone posted this on Twitter. I found it had a Linux client, and I figured this would be right up our alley for just creepy nonsense. Pedro, you actually played it though. It is free to play, but
It is, and you can finish it about 10 times in 5 minutes. Because it's literally, you go in, you find a key, and you go back to the door. That's it. And it's it's a small apartment with 3 rooms that you have to search through, and the key always spawns in specific places, so after the first couple of times you always know what you're looking for.
So this is basically early morning trying to find my keys before I leave for work simulator the game.
Pretty
Basically,
much,
I mean, who
yeah.
doesn't have clowns
Except
in
you
their house?
got killer
I kind of like what
clowns,
they
yeah.
said. They said, step inside a
Whoa.
grotesque house of lunatic clowns. And that's basically what Shadowrun calls Saturday night. It's only 173 megajoules to download, so I knew it was going to be a bit short. But, Atomic, do you have a fear of the clowns? We all float down here.
No, but
Do you have
once-
fear of leprechauns? Because we can get Empty on, and he can scare the shit out of me.
maybe.
How about
maybe.
leprechaun clowns?
I'm the leprechaun! Oh no!
But this is a first. This is a free game that I'm actually not even going to play. I'm not even going to download it.
All right. Well, these guys are back at it. So we're testing a Linux build now. It has everything except controller support. We're trying to get it out in the next 2 weeks. What are you talking about, Ven? Show us. Road Redemption, where you lead your biker gang on an epic journey across country in this procedurally generated driving combat adventure. That's currently in early access at 19.99 wet stinky caches. And here's the thing, I actually did a little bit of the research. I mean, it almost violates every single rule we have at LinuxGameCast. But I did. And
Doing homework.
on their Kickstarter, they clearly said August of next year, and we're coming right at the end of August. But the biggest issue they're having right now is, the controllers don't really work on the Linux. And I'm like, oh God, Unity, right?
But yeah, you put this in the notes, and I was looking at the trailer in the Steam page, and I'm like, the pre-rendered in-engine cutscenes look worse than the actual gameplay. You don't see that every day.
No. Well, this is something you definitely got to think about, because this is how far we've come with Linux. Last year when this was being announced, it's like, man, that looks awesome. We don't have anything that looks quite that good on Linux, and welcome to 2015. Like,
Mordor, Metro.
right.
Metro 2033 Redux.
So, if they get it out, if they learn how to SDL2 and actually get some real controls in there, because if it's got that Unity Unity 5, I guess they're still running on Unity 4 to still have that being such a ginormous issue, but Ash, you wrote something in there just a minute ago.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw some of the big YouTubers playing this when it was in beta or something. It just looked janky. It's like, what's the gameplay here? I don't even know.
Road Rash.
Did you ever play Road Rash?
I have not.
That explains a lot then.
The whole premise is you're a bikie man in a biking gang. You live in your crack den selling crack.
And all
And,
that.
And on that bombshell, coming up next, we get flagged for content ID.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is usually the news segment, but today we're starting off sending out some special thank yous to the people who make this little train wreck we call Linux Gamecast Weekly possible. It's our Patreon!
It is. It's brilliant. You can head on over to patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. Check out that business. We got some lovely pledge goals. 5 cents a show gets you early access to all our Let's Plays. $2 a show, or rather $2.50 a show, gets you access to our show notes. You get to watch the sausage before it gets made. And our latest goal of donation need business is, if we make it to $150 an episode, we will create a brand new show for you people called Linux Gamecast Weekly Daily Wednesdays 40. And we have a very special guest planned once, hopefully, if everything works out, Crusader, the creator of LinuxGames.com, will be on the show. This is actually more of like a general Linux happening show, not specifically gaming related, although gaming stuff can be included. It's more of a potpourri thing. But we gotta thank our very special Patreon folks, Timothy, Jonas, Francis, who have just pledged, as did chat realm member Bagbo. So thanks a lot, guy. You're the man now, dog.
You the real MVP. All right. Drivers.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Linux Gamecast Weekly if we didn't start the news proper with some drivers. And NVIDIA is like, yeah, so we released the GTX 950 a couple of weeks ago, so might as well put out some drivers for them Linuxy fellows. And they did.
Probably should support that, yeah.
Yeah. But they also have a couple of bug fixes. One that caused VDPAU to only display half of a video frame with H.265, and another one that caused the X server to crash if an OpenGL application tried to allocate a drawable when GPU accessible memory is exhausted. Still running damage control on that 3.5 gigs, aren't you, NVIDIA?
Well, this is something that I did pick up is, we were talking last week, it's like, why would you fucking buy a 950? Here's a good reason. The 950, unlike our Jordan I's 980s or P-Man's 970, Atomic, you have a 970, right?
980. A 780.
780. The 950 has hardware support for H.265, which...
So does the 960, though. The 960 also has that specialized hardware. So again, you're still better off buying that one.
Yeah, buy the 960. It's only like $20 or $30 more.
But still, good on NVIDIA. If this was AMD, we would expect this to show up in the open source drivers shortly before we were in the home. Okay, tell me all about this. Twiggle, twiggle, twiggle. Well, it's YouTube, and it's Twitch. It's live. And they want you to come over and play our games. Yes, that's right. YouTube, gaming.youtube.com. This is definitely a thing. They looked at Twitch and said, you know what, I'd like me a bit of that. Here's a problem, Brad. Here's the problem. I was kind of wondering a while back, because, they made that whole deal of, well, you have to have your G Plus account if you have a YouTube account, and they force that down your throat. And I'm like, we're going to roll back on that. And I was like, why are you rolling back on that, really? This is why so you can now have another YouTube channel. Just irritated about that. The biggest issue with this, and I've seen a lot of live streamers complain on the Twitters, because you can do a search ease on that, is same reason you have with YouTube. Taking down my videos because I was talking and it thought my voice was copyrighted. False content ID. I mean, it is just bullshit.
Nothing spits in the face of innocent until proven guilty, like content ID.
Right, and that's going to be a tough sell because a lot of people have had their streams noped and they weren't like, I was playing a movie. No, they were just fucking playing a game and it triggered something on their bullshit content ID system and it killed their fucking stream. That's going to be a tough sell.
That is why Twitch is going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, I don't know, Atomic. Considering this is going to give us the option for HTML5 and all that good sauce, unless you're on the Firefoxes, do you see this taking off? Are they going to stick with it, or are they going to G+ it?
They're going to force it down people's throats to where it's actually going to have some market share. But compete with Twitch? I don't think so.
Now, my question is, again, what does YouTube gaming offer aside from 60 FPS over HTML5? What does YouTube gaming actually offer your average streamer over, say, Twitch?
What this is going to offer. This is going to offer a challenge, and Amazon's going to get their shit together and fix Twitch and make Twitch actually usable. Because you got to admit, I mean, Twitch is janky as hell. And one good thing about this is you can rewind like 2 arms from a live stream. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty handy, yeah. Well, I'll give it that. YouTube servers can probably handle that load too. Yeah, I mean, aside from the whole Firefox debacle, which YouTube will always give you Flash even if you opt into HTML5 in Firefox for some bizarre ass reason. It's because they want you to use Chrome. They just want to love you, man. Why don't you let them love you with monitoring all your traffic and blah blah. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly a thing. Pedro, do you have any?
No, honestly, I don't think Twitch is going anywhere. It might, like Ven said, get Amazon to get their shit together and actually fix the lingering issues and maybe finally get rid of Flash. Seriously?
All right, let's talk about accounting, Atomic.
Derek Smart has threatened legal action against Cloud Imperium.
Who dat?
They're the people behind Star Citizen.
Who's the other guy?
He is apparently the developer of an MMO, whose name I've forgotten. Star Marine
Defense.
Yeah. A game I've never heard of and
Defense.
don't give a fuck about.
Yeah.
And who the hell it is.
Yeah, so this entire story is weird to me because this guy was upset with the lack of progress in Star Citizen. He had his initial contribution to the Kickstarter campaign refunded. So apparently he's just complaining to bring up some press regarding his game. Pedro, you had some theory about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. He had his original pledge refunded, sort of in a hostile way, let's call it that, because he didn't ask for that refund. They were like, yeah, you're being kind of a pain in the ass. Tell you what, here's your money back. Fuck off. And he didn't fuck off. In fact, he said he was going to file a class action lawsuit, and he kept harassing them. There was a whole brouhaha with this guy, and everyone's saying, yeah, you're just doing this to promote your own MMO, Line of Defense, which if you go on Steam, you'll see it's mostly negative reviews for that game. And looking at the reviews, there's a lot of people saying, fuck you, you're telling, there was a good one I can't remember right now, but yeah, it's people defending Star Citizen and giving his game negative reviews.
Pedro, see if you can find that post, and we'll throw it in the show notes before we post the episode.
All right, let's talk about some QA, because this is from Farrell.
Oh, yes. Farrell posted this on Twitter. Do you like bits of things? Yes, us too. We're putting them together into Linux computers. And you can see they have some lovely bits of hardware there. They got some YOLO Evo coolers. You got some 980 Ti, some R9 390s.
I'm seeing 2 AMD CPUs along with an Intel.
Two AMD
That's a
CPUs.
nice 7.
I think the one at the back, the AMD CPU on that, is being obscured by the other CPU cooler.
But look at all the Hyper 212s. Apparently,
I know. Oh, I mean, they're like $29
Right.
a pop.
You
so
can't go
if you're
wrong
building a
with them. I
computer-
have one. So.
Yeah, buy it. Get that. You're gonna stay nice and frosty. But it's nice because they're certainly getting some more AMD hardware to do their testing on for games. Now I'm curious, are they gonna go with the open source drivers or the proprietary drivers? Mix of both? You never know.
I don't know. I mean, after all this, especially after we saw Shadows of Mordor and the other game that just came out this week,
Company Heroes.
Company Heroes, thank you. So, is my first thought about this, and I hate to say this because we freaking love the guys and gals at Feral, and it's like, now we start testing on AMD CPUs? Really? Question mark?
At least they're doing something to help out AMD users, which is more than what actually AMD is doing. So.
How AMD hasn't filed for bankruptcy yet kind of is beyond me.
It's called the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 page
yeah.
road. But cocaine,
they do have that.
cocaine is a hell of a drug, though. This is from Unity, their blog. The links to all this crap is in our show notes. We haven't mentioned that yet. They have released the experimental build. This was previously in the hands of some select people, but it's out for general consumption now. The Linux version of the Unity editor. And it's
I'm a
semi-feature
little
complete.
disappointed. They have a platform
Oh, yes.
agnostic, but they don't have a platform atheist or Christian installer.
That's racist.
Islamic.
No.
Oh.
Or a Buddhist installer,
Right.
maybe a Zoroastrian installer. Anyways, I'm getting.
No, I mean, it's definitely the Unity engine coming in. Before we get into this, I just want to say, if you're having a problem, you've installed it on your Debian-based Ubuntu, any type of system like that, using apt. If something is not working with Unity, just reinstall it. Sudo apt-get remove Unity. It'll work just fine, I promise.
Remove Unity. Right. I like that. No, but it actually comes with some neat features. It can actually export to Mac, it can export to Windows, which is a thing we were curious to see if you can build your Unity game in Linux and then export it to Windows.
Well, Jay, baby,
Apparently,
you were definitely saying something about it. I was like, hey, we've been working on this a long time, and here it finally is. Maybe.
Oh, yes. Yes, the exact quote is, your adoption and feedback will help us determine if this is something we can sustain alongside our Mac and Windows builds. So I like how they're all, oh my god, we have a Unity Linux editor, my god, you people have been asking about this for years, and we're finally throwing you a bone, but, Linux is hard, we kind of don't want to put up the effort, so unless we're going to get a whole whack ton of users, we may just abandon this.
I definitely looked into it like that, because I downloaded it and installed it. It's about 3 gigajoules after you get everything installed. It runs a couple of font issues, and I was going to do, like with any game engine I get a chance to futz with, I was going to make my simple Mario block, jump, block, just your basic collision detection, a little bit of friction and all that, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, so out of the gate you guys are telling me, and first of all, I just want to say we thank everyone working at Unity, fantastic fucking people, and
for at least putting this out, yeah.
Yeah, the engine itself is great, it's just, it gets a bunch of shit. I mean, we've seen games like Wasteland 2, Ziggurat, drag those guys out and he's like, you can do awesome things with this engine, but you can do some horrible things with this engine, which has been proven more often than not. But getting back to creating my Mario game, it's like, you guys are saying you're not even throwing any kind of weight behind this. I'm not going to bother learning this if you're just going to take it away from me, Brad.
Yeah. Yep. They kind of killed it off the gate, and hey, it was a good run, but it's unfortunate. It's over. Unreal 4 is open source. CryEngine's kind of free. You're fucked.
I don't know, Atomic. What do you think?
I haven't even tried it because I'm not interested in building the game.
Fair enough. It's time for meow, 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 though. Isn't that right?
No.
Yeah. This is a...
No, we got backer rewards up first, son.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we do.
Armageddon.
Armageddon reincarnation. Guys, please let me belatedly chip in here with an explanation and some news for you. Basically, well, if you've been listening to LinuxGameCast for 5 seconds, you know about the fiasco. That is Carmageddon reincarnation. But trust me, it's coming out at the end of, 2013?
Oh, yeah.
They do say in this, which just floored me, like, okay, for reals, guys, we're going to start shipping out those physical backer rewards that we promised 3 years ago. Because if you wanted a box copy of Carmageddon Reincarnation, that's 150 wet stinky caches that you've just sent off into the ether. And you've just been waiting. But I want to get this right. Okay, here's a quote. Part of the problem we face here is that we're a game development studio and the focus of our attention is constantly on the games. This is their excuse for why it's taken so long. And I was like, games?
It's the Android one.
Do you mean all that money that you spent making those mothering mobile ports of Carmageddon, the 1 and 2 that nobody asked for and was never mentioned in the Kickstarter of those? But it doesn't stop there. Here's what they say. They say, but, this is another reason, so why is it going to take so long? We really want the box games that they're going to be shipping out to people to be the quote-unquote final one. And there we fuck mothering have it, ladies and gentlemen. Carmageddon Reincarnation was knowingly shipped hella incomplete. Yeah, you did that, Brad. Gotcha. But, Peanut, didn't they also say some things about, that Linux port, it's not dead either?
Yeah, it's not that either, but what the hell?
It's hard to even believe anything.
So glad I didn't back this. So glad I didn't back this.
I mean,
we're personally, in
people
disclaimer, Pedro and I both have invested in this Kickstarter.
yes, I backed him at, I think it was
15.
a $30 level for the original soundtrack and a bunch of other crap that I still haven't seen.
Moving
Really?
on.
Yes.
GabeN,
Up next.
tell us about it.
So this is a handheld console based on the Raspberry Pi
Mm-hmm.
that
Ooh,
looks
that looks
shockingly
familiar.
like a Game Boy.
But it's called a
Except-
Game Kid. So, I mean,
No,
Yeah.
that's skirting
Well,
copyright.
they didn't want to be
Nintendo's not so happy. Go ahead.
they didn't want to be sexist, so they called it the Game Kid. They changed the name.
That's ageist, man. Come on.
But yeah, this is supposed to emulate all the old Game Boy Color, probably the Sega, whatever the hell it was.
It's a handheld emulator box powered by a Raspberry Pi, and they're definitely going after the nostalgia market. What with looking like the original brick Game Boy. I forgot to grab it because it's buried in a pile of crap. But my original brick Game Boy, like the fucking 4 battery, no backlight motherfucker, still plays Tetris to this day. These guys have not unlocked the chemical composition to Nintendium, that material that just turns yellow, but doesn't actually really break or explode or catch fire or anything.
I don't know. I'm looking at this. They currently are at 13.4 thousand wet stinky caches, and
Wow,
they want 15.
they're almost there, and they got about a
Yeah,
month
they're
to go.
definitely going to get this. I mean, you got a lot of goodwill. Robot Loves Kitty Game Development Studio. This is their first foray into hardware, and they said, we're new to the hardware business, but we like that. And it's like, you won't, and trust me.
Give it a couple months.
Yeah, and one of the things. I got some faith in it because, they're not outsourcing. This is basically going to be 3D printed shells, which I'm like, I don't really want.
And
that.
it comes with like all the
Yeah.
LCDs and the batteries and shit. But
Yeah.
you basically need to bring your own Raspberry Pi and drop that in there too. That's the other thing.
Or you can buy, if you pledge at the $99, the $99, you still have to add the Raspberry Pi. So, which one do you get? Here it is. $139. You get the fully assembled game kit with a 16 gigabyte micro SD card and the Raspberry Pi 2.
Well, As, you think it has a good chance of succeeding?
Yeah, this has probably the best chance of succeeding of any mobile console that we've seen lately. For the reason that it's not trying to do desktop duty.
I don't know. I mean, these are good people that are trying this, and if you're into things like that, me personally, I would just head over to Adafruit, Lady Ada, and they have a full kit where you get the experience of putting all this business together and doing it
It's
yourself.
a fun little project for your kid too. If you have one of those little resource-consuming spawns kicking around. Give them one of those kits from Adafruit, and they'll have some shit to do and they'll get out of your hair. Up next, we kung fu fight, and Ven gets super racist. These lawn chairs have undergone a metamorphosis. While selling cocaine to a bikie man and a bikie gang in an alleyway, they were bitten by a cobra and struck by lightning and grinded upon by us, and they became the CHAIRQUISITION, and we're throwing lawn chairs at Kings at Kung Fuhrer. No, that would actually be awesome. It's Kings of Kung Fu. It's a fighting game on Linux. Wow, we have exactly 2 of them now. And it's your standard Tekken style fight 'em up fighting game, kung fu simulator. It's $9.99. It's built on the Unity engine, and you can tell from the Pulse Audio underruns. It's developed by J. Lee Productions and inspired by classic kung fu films. This passion-fueled fighter provides 1 versus 1 gameplay for gamers of all skill levels. Yeah, just look at the AI. Take on the role of one of 14 martial arts stunt masters as you fight to show which style cannot be beat. And of course, with the CHAIRQUISITION, we get the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that it's 3 chairs means that's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that's amazing. It is Kung Fury level of awesome. And we also have our categories mixed with the working shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. Then, did Kings of Kung Fu make with the working?
Well, let's see. How did it work on the 8150 octo-core Ubuntu 1404 980 powered 4K displayed box of business? Well, Brad, we got some issues. This thing does not detect resolution properly, period. That's something you might have to deal with. And you're like, yeah, why would you have to deal with it? Because I have a 4K display, Brad. Sometimes I want to run them games at 1080. Sometimes I want to run them at UHD resolution. And that's definitely a thing. This one can't figure it out. If you have the game, you're playing in 4K, you relaunch it, and you're at 1080p, you just get that one 1080p corner of your 4K display, and that's a pain in the ass. And it does that in spades. And I know it's possible to do it correctly with Unity, because a lot of games do. But when you mix that in, I'm just going to say this. First of all, if you do that, you just lose 2 chairs. Automatically. Period. I'm sorry, I'm tired of this. But you got to mix that in with the way this thing sets resolutions. I have not seen a more jankier resolution setting since the days of fucking DOS. It's a slider bar that you hit, wait, then it'll change. It's not a simple drop-down menu. It's like, okay, run this, and this, boom, boom. No, it is miserable. It's busted. I don't like it, but it does run. So I'll give it 2 chairs.
On the 1090 980 powered box of business with the 4K extra cherry on top. Yeah, no, I didn't have that issue with the tiny corner thing. I will say, yeah, the fucking resolution slider is dumb because you kind of nudge it and maybe it'll register that you clicked on it and maybe it won't. And eventually, with some persistence, you can get it to 4K and it still runs a bit like ass. But it's not about how it runs, it's rather if it runs, which it did. So on Fedora 21 64-bit, I'll give it 4 chairs. Why not?
Yeah, on my end, since I only have the 2 1080p displays, it full screened itself to one of them correctly, which is actually something that every time I fire up a Unity game and it correctly detects that I have 2 1080p monitors and chooses one of them and full screens properly, it gives me a little warm, fuzzy feeling inside.
It also spares them from losing 2 chairs.
That too, yeah. But yeah, I'm running on Aurora 21 64-bit with the processor is an AMD FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and an NVIDIA or an Asus GTX 970 Strix to back it all up. And yeah, 4 chairs.
Well, on my i7 4790K quad-core 780 powered 4K monitor, it just came up. And I think I may have had to adjust the resolution the first time I launched it, but it's not enough for me to ding at a chair. 4 chairs.
All right, so that's 3 chairs for Mix with the Working. Up next is Shiny and Sounds. Ven, did this game shin?
Well, Brother Sfang, when this critter was in early access, I was handing out pass organs left and right. I'm like, come on. No big issue, because I consider the graphics, the sound, the animation, the fighting system, basically everything, to be placeholders. A solid foundation that can be built upon. Well, they pretty much changed fucked and all and called it baked. They did. And it's like, it's out of early access. And let me tell you this, if you disable all the graphical bullshit, you will see just how fugly this thing is in spades. The sounds, what it makes while you're spanking an opponent with your meat sticks is wholly unsatisfying. And as for the soundtrack, well, are you a fan of 3-second loops? Because if you are, this is the game for you. It's just not a bit of all right. It's not impressive. This kind of looks like maybe on a good day a low-budget PS2 game. Graphically, I don't even know if I want to insult the PS2 that much. And the sounds, they are repetitive, though everyone else is going to get a lot more than that. But my main ding was, here's your level soundtrack, 3 seconds, over and over and over and over. Slayer! So here we go again with the two chairs.
Yeah, no, the film grain effects really do a bad job of hiding like the terrible animation and the terrible rigging. I unlike these guys, I didn't turn it off because I couldn't be arsed to actually look for the obscure ass menu option
that you didn't think existed.
Yeah, which Pedro will get into in more detail. The announcer is just so racist. If I don't know, probably in post we're not going to do it, but throw up the little black kid with the "that's racist" gif. And yeah, the soundtrack is just kind of meh. I ended up muting it because, like any game based on Unity 4, Pulse Audio underruns out the wazoo, and maybe sometimes it'll decide that the sound is going to work, so it's going to get 2 chairs.
Yeah, fun fact, the soundtrack, as bad as it may be, I didn't mind it so much, but it was pretty repetitive. But, this is the fun part, if you go to the folder where Steam dumped all the game files, you can actually find a separate folder with the soundtrack. Yeah.
But can you replace it with your own music? It's the real question.
So, it doesn't look particularly good. The film grain effect makes everything look blurry as balls, and I honestly, even though they gave me the option to turn it off, I didn't fucking find it until Ven pointed it out. So, yeah, gets a ding from a chair right there. And the rest of the graphics options, you get the Unity slider of nope. You want to disable, I don't know, anti-aliasing, want to try a different type of anti-aliasing, want to set an anisotropic filtering, want to set VSync, want to, I don't know, the staples of PC gaming, as it were. You can't change them. All you get is a fucking slider. And like I said earlier, I don't mind the background music so much, but that fucking announcer screaming, "Very good!" whenever someone makes a 2-hit combo got real old, real fast. And guess what? They don't have a separate slider to control the announcer's voice. So if you want him to shut the fuck up, you'll have to mute the sound effects, and then all you get is the crappy background music. 2 chairs.
Welcome to 2004. We have nice graphics.
Ugh.
I also didn't know there was graphical options until Ben pointed out, and that they don't seem to do much. One thing that it really needs, though, is the ability to turn on VSync.
So that can't work either?
Yeah. So that can be totally busted. And, the soundtrack, everybody's already mentioned that it's repetitive, and it is. 2 chairs.
All right, that's 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control, the meat and potatoes of any fighting game. Then,
definitely something you want to think about, and it's going to be very important, is how does it control? And let's just be honest with ourselves, gentlemen. I've played 3D fighters on a fuck-mothering PS1 that controlled better than this. Do you see this, Brad? This is a gamepad. This is not a fucking suggestion stick. I'm sorry. Seriously, I gave up trying to execute the special moves. There was no point. Button mashing has the same othering effect, and if you're watching this in post, the video you're seeing behind us right now, that's just me sitting here just mashing buttons for 20 minutes and kicking ass. Controls, it's just abysmal. I mean, when I say suggestion sticks, I want you to move, try to grab. The throw, I can never execute a throw to save my fucking life in a real fight with the AI. I mean, you can do it on training mode, but that really doesn't damn count. Yeah, with a fighting game, you need to have tight controls. Floaty would be a compliment to this game, and they're undeserving of the word floaty controls. This is just, it might move, it might not. Who knows? And I'm not going to play it with a damn keyboard. But, in all fairness, they do work. So I'm still going to have to give it 2 chairs.
Yeah, it worked. The default controller mappings didn't outright work on the PlayStation 4 controller, which I'm rolling up right now for audio listening bros. But it did detect them, and you can actually remap the controls, which is nice. Something that, Skullgirls doesn't let you do. Something that you should be able to do in a fighting game to better accommodate your particular style of play. But all of that's all well and good until you try and execute combos, like Ven said, which will execute when they fucking feel like it. And that's really where all my issues with the controls lie. Is part of the ability to play a fighting game is to actually be able to execute combos, which you really can't. But that's fine, because there's enough fuckbox combos here that'll just let you fuck some guy in a corner to death that you really don't need to worry about it. Yeah, the controls are a little floaty, but I mean, they work well enough, especially if you're fighting against the AI. Fighting against another human being, that's... Well, we're never going to find that out because we're never going to play this game. Again, 3 chairs.
Yeah. I don't mind playing fighting games with a keyboard. I beat... And just a little disclaimer before I get into it. I never thought that I'd be using Skullgirls as a positive example for a game on Linux. But here we are. I have beaten the entire Skullgirl story mode in Nightmare mode with the keyboard. And it's still working. I haven't smacked it through the desk yet, so that's good. But that's because Skullgirls has tight controls. This busted-ass piece of shit will barely register anything more complex than a 3 or 4 hit combo. It's a pain in the ass. Oh, and the hitboxes are slightly larger than the character models, because every now and again, there'll be like a 10 or 20 pixel distance between a kick from the AI, and my character, for some reason, still gets hit. It gets 3 chairs on a technicality, but...
I, for one, simply can't play a beat-em-up game on a keyboard, so luckily it picked up this 360 controller. Any game where I can't control the menu with the D-pad and the navigation with the thumbstick is in the least bit floaty, and it is in this game, it's going to get dinged a chair automatically right then and there. And I got to dig in another chair because the controls lack the precision to execute any kind of combo moves. 2 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 chairs for control. And finally, the cherry on top. The part you've been waiting for, the fun section. Ben, did you have fun playing Kings of Kung Fu?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu.
Yes. Well, Brad, let me just go ahead and start off by saying the AI in this game is pants on heads retarded. Okay, let's get that out of the way.
Yes.
I played it on easy for like 20 plus minutes using the patented 5-fingered button mashing technique. No offense, Pedro. Only died once, and let me tell you, easy is where you genuinely want to play this game. Higher than that, prepare to get killed to death because the CPU has the ability to... I don't know. Execute moves. It does have that ability, which you do not, but I already hear you. Vin, I'm blaming the controls of the truth. You can't really play! Exclamation 11. Oh, all right. Well, listen, Brad. I have Skullgirls, and I've gotten my ass organ handed to me repeatedly for the first 2 or 3 hours while I was learning how to play that game. Now, I can get about halfway up through the fucking ladder in the story mode. I'm getting better at it. How did I pull off this magical moon mystery? Well, let me tell you, I was able to learn the moves, and get this is a good part, pull them off, actually execute them. Unlike this game, there's no chance of that shit. And it's simply something you can't accomplish with this game. You just button mash and you'll get through it. I would rather play Mortal Kombat on the OG Game Boy than this business. Seriously, this is a Linux fighter, or a fighter in general, that can only count to potato. I'm going to give it what it deserves, one chair.
So then would you refer to this as Kings of Kung Ferp?
Kings of glue stick munching troglodyte.
But yeah, no, this game does get like super boring after a while. The AI, like Ben said, is pretty rock stupid, and yeah, just pointless button mashing. Again, once you find your fuckbox combo that basically just locks them in a corner and doesn't let them actually do anything, you're pretty much golden for the rest of the arcade mode, because you just lock people in the fucking corner and pound on them with down kick, down kick, down kick, clothesline push, down kick, down kick, down kick, clothesline push. But I mean, like, for the first little bit, it was fun to knock some fuckers around as Chong Li from Bloodsport, or I think they call him Lo Chi in this, which is just bad. But you know, sometimes you combo someone good enough that you launch him up in the air and end up punching him in the dick. That happened about 6 times for me, and that's pretty satisfying. I will give it that. But ultimately, this game serves as nothing but a grim reminder that we will never have a Tekken game under Linux. One share.
Yeah, I played through the arcade mode with a single character and unlocked 5 of the game's total of 12 achievements. I saw all those notifications come up and I'm like, okay, I think I'm done with this game.
That's because you were playing as Hung Lo.
with his down kick, which is his third leg.
But that's really bad, because it took me like 30-ish minutes, about half an hour, to actually get through the arcade mode with a single character, and that's still very much within the refund window. You're losing people to this game. There's no one chair.
This game isn't quite boring enough for me to never play it again, but I don't think I'll be playing it alone again. Might make it an okay social game, assuming it supports local multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming you'll find anyone who wants to play it with you.
I'll give it 2 chairs.
Yeah, like Pedro said, good luck finding anyone who actually wants to play this turd. That's 1 chair for fun, and if we tally everything up, surprise, surprise, it actually does squeak away with 2 whole chairs on account of not being entirely busted. It's not sure if want. I'm pretty sure that I don't want it.
Yeah.
But these, to be fair, they did send us some keys, full disclosure. So there is that. So, gentlemen, it's final thoughts.
Like I said, I think this came out of early access way too soon, and there's a bit of controversy about this game, because early on they said we're going to have online multiplayer, and a lot of people backed it for that and got it for that, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to have online multiplayer. Psych! I don't know if that was intentional, or if they just couldn't figure out the netcode and all that business. Like I said, when I first played this,
is hard, you guys.
You can go back and find the episode. When they first sent us the keys, I was thinking, oh god, somebody's trying to make a fighting game. This is going to be complete shit. Then I played it, and I was like, that's a pretty good game for early access. I mean, they got the basics there. I mean, yes, they're going to have to do, rework the art, rework the music, get the fighting, make it look like the fighters are not marionettes and all that business. But they didn't. Why they didn't is beyond me. It's beyond my personal fucking comprehension. They just put it out. They had the core of something that could have been cool as fuck. I mean, 70s Kung Fu. I watched that. I like that. Not as much as, what's his name? And Jennifer Aniston and, Office Space.
Office Space.
Yeah, not quite that much, but I know about it. And this does not resemble any of that. It doesn't really bring anything back. P-Baby?
Yeah, no. I mean, finishing the arcade mode is mostly what most people do. They get the game, they play the arcade mode, especially fighting games, they play the arcade mode, and yeah, I beat it. And they set it off to the side. Of course, that was back in the day where Steam refunds were not a thing. Now they are. They're like, oh, that's it? That's all I'm going to be doing with the game? There's no online multiplayer? Then what's the point? They're just going to go back to the Steam store, and ask for a refund.
Now, in all fairness, they are still updating the game. But
They are,
Yeah,
but they're
what
going to have to
what is
update
the
a
internal
lot.
version of this? Like 2,397,000.99926.5e to the power of 10
version 3,
minus.
we
Yeah.
added a character. All right, wrap it up, Ass.
It feels apathetic to me. Like they
Didn't
just
know
kind of
understand big word.
they just kind of built it and then they're like, fuck it, we're done.
YOLO.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of the old 1970s Kung Fu TV series, this game reminds me that I would rather be performing autoerotic asphyxiation than playing this game. Up next, hate mail. We got hate mail from Ben. Lots of hate mail from Ben. Check that nonsense out.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the hate mail, and we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel with this one. We've got Ben sending in hate mail. Come on,
fuck
man,
you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you!
You lot should know by now how to get in touch with us. And hey, we leave enough dangly bits throughout the show for
Dangly
you
bits.
guys to pull on and send us some hate mail. So, you know what to do, LinuxGameCast, contact button, fill the form, do the captcha thing. It's easy. Come on.
And it lets you go back to it lets you go back to your world, or it'll stop your head from exploding.
Unishark.
Yes.
Coming up first, this is from description is Elder, and he writes, and this is about Pedro made a how-to for getting the Elder Scrolls Online up and running on the Linuxes, and he says, yes, this is a great video. It works perfectly, and you recommend we don't buy it. However, all in caps, we need a registration redeem code period. So basically, after 38 gigajoules, I can't play. Anyone got a solution to this question mark?
Here's the thing.
Okay.
The reason I didn't actually, well, the reason that I said in the video I don't actively recommend you buy this game, what I said exactly after that was, this is for those people who already have the game and haven't been able to actually get it to work under Linux. Why would you put yourself through that if you don't already have a license, a valid license for the game? Why?
In all fairness, Pedro, I mean, if you like metal on Linux, in all fairness, it was like, but I really want to play the game, we completely support, you're allowed 5 heretic purchases, son.
Yeah, and if you have a look at some YouTube videos, if you think you might enjoy playing the
Can you answer
game,
his
there's there was actually a list that ZeniMax posted on the Elder Scrolls Online subreddit that has all the official retailers. Shut up, Jordan. They all, if you get from the official retailers, some of them have some really, really good prices. I've seen them go as low as like $13 for the basic license. So yeah, do your research.
Good. Could you answer his question?
That's it. There is no solution other than you get a actual valid license to play the game.
So
Also, his email address is the cross between a car company and that Shantae video game. I forget what the freaking thing's called. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Up next!
Take it.
Yeah. From Monster Cameron, our favorite AMD user. He says the Schmach Zero probably have something like an A10 Micro 6700T, what with the like what you find in the Mint box or the Fitlet from FitPC. Then that chip is an SoC and has enough power to run Dragon Ball Xenoverse at 30 FPS under Linux. I don't think so. On low at 1024 by 768. Slightly lower skew is the A6 6400T, which can be found in the HP Stream series. Blah 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 blah. So with a 20 watt-hour battery, they can get 2 to 3 hours depending on load. Maybe they will add to the heft and use a 30 to 40 watt-hour batteries to get 4 to 6 hours. But we are talking about AMD graphics under Linux. We're not talking about AMD graphics under Windows, where maybe they have power management. This is under Linux, where if your fan isn't going your graphics card probably isn't actually doing
I
it.
genuinely enjoy it. Now, we're talking about the Steam Boy. We were talking about that last week.
Yeah,
I like how you're worried about power management versus the damn game actually running, period.
Oh, no. I said that already.
This is
It's
what
good enough to
happens
run
when
Dragon
a
Ball Xenoverse
dual
on
booter
what?
attempts to make an argument. But yeah, the whole
The monster sees a
30 to
filthy
40
dual booting heathen, but he's the good kind.
Yeah, he's the good kind. I'll give him that. But the whole 30 to 40 watt-hour battery, how the hell do you intend to fit one of those on a handheld?
It's a belt clip.
What do you think, Ass? Will it just be a supercapacitor?
Hopefully it won't melt in your hand.
Maybe they're buying the batteries from Tesla. Who knows? Needless to say, I don't think the Schmach Zero will be a success, mainly because it is a Game Gear. And we all have fond memories about that. Wonderful handheld. Up next!
Fuck y'all.
Oh,
Okay.
fuck y'all.
Yeah, well, fuck you too, then.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Okay. You might, billions of years ago in the future's past, you might remember last week, where I was talking about our Xbox 360 emulators. I'm glad Empty is in chat realm right now, because I like to give him a bit of taste of this sweaty wing. You said, well, it doesn't compile on Linux, which it does. And later on, I was like, well, it's kind of moon magic being able to decrypt this fucking cell processor shit, which I was told, 9! It is an x86 processor. Fuck that noise. Not only I was right about the fucking compiling on Linux, it was an XCPU ES Power PC chip. Yes. For audio listeners, this is me saluting Jordan, Pedro, and Empty.
Hey, I didn't say anything at the time.
I
didn't say anything about that.
I freely admit I freely admitted I could have been wrong last week because I might have been confusing it with the original Xbox, and I could be wrong about that. So you know what? Fuck you too. Then, but finally.
Now I'm just throwing this in there. If you people don't know, Josh Walrus, as Jordan likes to call him.
Yep.
He does a little podcast called PC Per, and we constantly talk shit to each other because, we're friends. Anyway, Monoprice sent him a new Cotoroid condenser microphone, unlike that other guy.
Sebastian Peak.
Can you give us an example of how Sebastian was talking to Mike P-Man?
So, Sebastian was talking to his microphone like this throughout the entire thing.
Now deep throat it. You gotta relax the throat and cup the balls. That's the important thing.
So, Josh didn't want anything during the show, but immediately in the after show, they just brought up because I think Jeremy was fucking around also like Jeremy, and he was like, I'm just going to put it in my face like this and talk like that. And Josh was like, you mean like Vin Stone? And I was like, well, son, this is an AT2020. Why do we have it in our face organ? So we got this little fucking argument. Not argument, this is us bullshitting. But we were doing it in public, which is kind of rare. And I was like, oh, what type of moron would put a pop filter in front of an AT2020 directly in front of the... Oh, right, Adam Savage and the Tested crew. Yes.
Those really smart guys. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's an audio-visual production company who's like, this is how you need to use this microphone. Just throwing out there, because on that bombshell, let's cue the music. You can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time doing this Nightmare Fuel, this business, this awesome sauce that, well, is partially due to you. You're throwing us some wet stinky. We got Chat Realm Dynamic in there talking to us live, and it's a brilliant thing. Thank you, everyone. I'm at Vinstone. You can always find me on the Twitter nets there, and plus Vinstone on the G pluses.
I'm Jordan Svung. You can follow me on Twitter at The Burning Fool, #PoopWatch2015, or you can check me out on Google Plus at +JordanSvung.
You can do hashtags on Google Plus too, but yeah, you should totally watch us live. How else will you be able to see me, Pedro Mateos, aka Plage Marissa? Well, I suppose you could find me on Twitter at @unaccounted for, or on Google Plus at +Pedro Mateos.
Don't know why you would. But then there's this guy.
Yeah, I'm just some random guy from the internet that pulled off to do this. I'm the Atomic Ass. You can find me at the Atomic Ass, plus the Atomic Ass on Google Plus. And I am also one of the co-hosts of the Linux Tech and Gaming Show.
When's
please
that
check us
coming
out.
back?
Oh, wait, what is that? I never heard of it.
We discuss Linux gaming and tech news, and we're just slightly more noob friendly.
What can I see?
You can come watch us Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We broadcast to Hitbox, Twitch, and Beam Pro.
Oh, right.
Do you got usernames for that, or where specifically, or
It's Linux Tech and Gaming on each one of those. You just add onto the end of the URL. But
good stuff? So,
I
check
guess
out
at
Linux Tech and
the
Gaming. Yeah.
end of the day, beautiful party people, just remember, clown no like, bad crispy.
Fucking magnets, man. How do they work?
Hashtag
It's a miracle.
Konami. Thanks, Empty.
Hashtag miracles.
Fuck mothering Vin Stone. There we go.
Sending hate mail to his own show. Good stuff.
Fuck you too. Here we go. I mean, here's a pay-per-view match. Me versus Jim Sterling.
In a slap fight? Yes.
Yes.
I'd see that. 5 dudes.